How are you guys? Good? How was the party yesterday? Awesome. Yeah, I actually loved it. Yes, these guys were amazing. And the first thing I was talking to my friends that I'm going and buying the old school CD to listen at home. What kind of cool music they're playing. So this was pretty cool. Anyway, let's start. Yes. So this is the almost last session of the day because after me there is fantastic Simon speaking. But let me tell you a couple of words what we're going to talk about today and what I'm doing for a living and what are the subjects, what's the practical outcome from the presentation. So a couple of words. Hi, my name is Paula, and I am a person that does the penetration tests. I'm a security expert working in security fields for right now it's 13 years, and I've got a company which is called Secure. It's a group of 8 people that do pretty much things around security from a different perspectives, and in general, what we like to do is the research in security field. I would say a lot because that's our life. This is also our hobby, and the session that I'll be talking about was not like the session yesterday, based on also an access a little bit to the source code of Windows, which we have. But this is actually a session that was inspired by one of our customers that pretty much have been attacked and or rather sabotaged, and their whole infrastructure was brought down a couple of times and they didn't know what is the reason. And effectively what happened is that they have lost about 4 million euros because it was a factory that was brought down as a matter of some internal threat. And as it appeared later, it was actually an administrator that probably, but we don't have proof, was paid by the competition to bring their infrastructure down. So we will be technically talking about such, yes. So whenever something happens to you, of course there are 2 ways we can go, and I would like to show you how to perform memory dumps, how to analyze them, and how to extract useful information from them. So it's going to be very practical, and definitely it's going to be a step-by-step. If memory analysis is something that you may be doing already, then I'm pretty sure you're going to see something interesting, because I'm not bringing an obvious, and I hope, examples to the field. And the second, if you want to start with memory analysis, this will be also a very good guide what kind of tools we're going to be using. Anyway, if it's about the introduction, and also myself and my speaking engagements and so on. Again, so sorry if you need to watch it one more time, it's just like a template. But technically, I was rated #1 speaker on Microsoft Ignite conference, and apparently, as I always say, the subjects are interesting, so hopefully you're gonna enjoy that session today too. If it's about the tools, as usual, I will be using actually tools that we wrote for that session too, and also for the project that we had. We faced a situation when there were not different tools available for the analysis that we wanted to make with our ideas that we brought with the project to the field. So there were a bunch of tools, and obviously we are sharing them always freely. Make sure that you do not run the tool with the raccoon icon. Let me repeat that all the time, because actually sometimes even if I say it, some guys click on the tools with the raccoon icon and then we have to remove the people's documents from our server, because that's sometimes what our malware does. Takes your My Documents folder and then it uploads it on our server, and we don't want your documents. So please do not click on the raccoon icon unless it's a virtual environment. You have been warned. Because we cooperate with Glasspaper and we run there our Secure Academy, just tiny mention, the closest workshop that I deliver is the 22nd of February. It's a pretty nice workshop when we're gonna hack and secure, so pretty straightforward operations if you like a little bit of hardcore stuff. Okay, so let's start with a story. The story is actually that my good colleague, he did not have a girlfriend, and he was quite desperate about it. And he was like, "Oh, seriously? I mean, there are no cool girls and so on." I'm like, just do something about it, man. Like, go to some kind of a dating portal and just find a nice girl, have some chats, and you're gonna see. Maybe that's gonna be the one. I mean, it never hurts. So he said, "Okay, well, pretty good idea." He registered himself on the dating portal, and he scheduled a meeting with some girl, and they had a meeting. And okay, he went back, and I'm like, "Okay, how was it? How is she? Like, how is everything?" And she's like, "Yeah, I see. So what happened is that she sent me this cool photo, but it appeared that she doesn't look like she sent the photo." Yes. So I'm like, "Oh, this is not nice." Yes. So he was completely disappointed that she kind of cheated on him in the beginning. So I'm like, "Okay, so there is a solution for that." Yes. And solution is very simple. Start the Skype session with this girl before you actually go to the meeting, so that you will not be disappointed, and it's going to be 100% what you see is what you get, hopefully. And at the very end, he comes back from the date, and I'm like, "Okay, so how was that?" And he was like, "Well, that didn't work too." And I'm like, "Okay, how come?" And apparently, what happened is that on the call on the Skype with him, it was this girl's sister that was apparently nicer, and he was definitely disappointed about that. So there's a one small conclusion that comes out from that tiny little story, and that conclusion is that deeper research never hurts, right? So he could even do the deeper research, and even deeper, and maybe he could send his colleague and so on, so that he finally recognizes a good girl that he could be with. Yes. And the same applies to memory. Yes, deeper research never hurts. Memory can be analyzed in 5 minutes, and it can be analyzed in weeks, literally. And there's always something interesting to find. And even though you are searching for something concrete, you can always like browse and browse and browse and do the research again and again. You can spend hours, days. So this is the memory's beauty. There's always something interesting to do, and hopefully you will see that after that session. The agenda for today is very simple. Yes, dumping techniques and live memory analysis. So we're gonna do such. Now, first of all, let's start from something nice. And besides some little bit of theory, we're going to start with a demonstration, okay? So let's start our practical stuff, and here is the thing. So I have here Windows 8 client machine. Doesn't matter really what kind of operating system is this, because the mechanism that I'm going to talk about is in every Windows. And right now, just to show you, there is selected in blue, yeah, so in a task manager, process that is called malware.exe. And that particular process, what I would do, simply speaking, I will hide it, yes? And question is, how do we do that? Maybe not that much important, but how do we find it? That's important, because if it's going to be running, for sure it's going to be in memory. And before we jump to that particular subject, I will tell you a very not romantic thing, that there has been one life guiding sentence in my security job and so on, and that security sentence is whatever runs is in a memory. And as long as we always acknowledge that, there's nothing that can be hidden in the operating system that you are using. Yes. So how are we going to do that? Well, first of all, this is not a session about the dumping or debugging, or about dumping, yes, but not about the debugging memory, but just to show you, yes, so that we are on the same page. I have here, I've loaded here a set of instructions that I wrote before in order to modify in operating system something that is called active process links. And active process links, it is a structure in operating system that defines us how processes are listed. So if I, for example, run a task manager or process explorer or any whatever process, blah, 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 hacker, yes, then these guys, they read the same type of source. and that source, it's called active process links. So imagine, because this is a kind of luxury that we have, but we maybe don't really appreciate it, think about the situation like if I want to have the most up-to-date list of the processes that are running in operating system, what do? I open, well, like whatever, task manager, okay. So these processes, or this process list, it's displayed like this, yes, and you got it, bang, yes, these are your processes. That's pretty cool, yes. Instead of that, if we want to be super duper accurate, what we will do, we will go to the memory and we're gonna browse the memory like literally step by step, and it's gonna probably take half an hour plus because it takes time, and we're gonna list all of the items or the objects that are processes. So you've got two options. Bang, you get a list, or you are going detailed and then you have literally everything that runs. So the first quick method has its own disadvantages because it relies on the list. Let me explain you this in a little bit different way. I'm always imagining here kindergarten, yes? Because kindergarten is crazy, yes? Especially from the adult perspective. When you get there, you feel like you are in like, yes, it's like kids are running, like screaming. For me, it's too much, yes? But anyway, when I'm there, what's the case? So the thing is that whenever you've got a door, so there's always someone at the door waiting. And when the kids are coming in, it's like a present list, like, yeah, Anna, John, tick, 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 tick. Yeah, so kids are there. But can we imagine a kid that is in the classroom, but it's not on the list? Easily, yeah? He's gonna sneak out. But the kid is there. Kid is working and doing fine. So this is the same situation that we've got over here. This process, I'm gonna hide it, so this is this kid that sneaks through the door and nobody actually puts him on the list. So we have here, of course, our debugger. And the only thing I will do, I'm going to press the G letter, but I'm going to do this over here so that you can actually observe the process. So, okay, 3, 2, 1, I hope you are there, not sleeping. G, yes, and our malware goes away. But now question is malware really away? Because I've hidden the process by modifying this active process links list, and right now I have to find it and I have to learn how to find it. Let me do the full screen so that we've got it a little bit more comfortable. Okay, lovely. So now question is, maybe some suggestions, where the process is. And just to maybe bring one interesting story to the field, we've got here, of course, Process Hacker. We can have, of course, if you want, Process Explorer. So there are plenty tools that we can run. Well, interesting part is, where is the process? What do you think? Where should I search? Tell me. You rule right now. What do you think? Oh, thank you. In the memory. Yeah, really. Okay, yes. Well, this is actually a good answer. It is definitely in the memory, but how we are able to find it, yes? Because this is the interesting part too. Well, actually, what I will do, and let me do that, I will take this box, and what I will do, I'm gonna connect maybe it's the ISO image, and let me do that. And I'm going to insert the disk, and it's going to be the, well, let's use the classic maybe, Process Explorer. Yes, we can do that. Because Task Manager, I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm not a fan of that. It's a tool that is good for killing processes. That's the only thing that it does nicely. We run Process Explorer. And we can even elevate because this tool here has 2 modes. And technically, if I would like to, one more time, full screen, if I would like to review all the processes here, if I search through, and let me enlarge it, and this is alphabetically, we can alphabetically sort it, yes, like this, not this, but this, I can search for anything starting with M. And anything starting with M does not contain as well our malware.exe. There is something else, yes? So we don't see it. And this way you will never see it, yes? Because this is this quick way that we cheated on. Now, what is the way though? Now here comes the thing. In order to find this process, you need to think how processes are managed. And the processes are managed, for example, by the guy that is called Client Server Runtime Subsystem. And this tiny little guy what it can allow us for is to display different types of handles. So let me see if I'm actually elevated right now, because does it look like I'm elevated or not? Because it should display me the handles. Anyway, let's see, view, because it doesn't show it very, yeah, okay, handles, no. Let me see, view, handles. Client server runtime subsystem is the guy that manages such. But apparently this is something strange. Let me see. No. Okay, let me start it as an administrator. We're gonna give it a token directly like this. It's gonna be a little bit better. And client server runtime subsystem will display us the guys that it manages. But apparently it's not the case. What's wrong? Let me see. This one, or let me go with the process hacker. And I think I might know what's the case here. Let me check. We've got our client server runtime subsystem. And let me go to the properties. Handles access is denied. Interesting. Why is that? Oh, this is actually my case. Well, technically what we will see is the situation where we will see this process being hidden in the handles list. Yes. Let me actually do one more thing. sidcmd.exe. Very good. So I'm going to start technically that as a local system, and let me start Process Explorer as a local system. I think it's going to have a better effect, because this is an interesting. It's actually one issue that I might have here, which is interesting. Okay, Process Explorer. Let me do that. Okay, and then let's take the client server runtime subsystem, and we're going to do the view, and then show a lower pane. Lovely. Okay, so this is better. This is actually a result of something that I said before, which is the I've removed from the local security policy debug privilege. By the way, we're going to talk about it too. So it's maybe nice to have it. And because of that, I'm not able to see a lot of details about the different processes, even though I'm an administrator. Debug privilege in operating system is by default assigned to the local system, and that's the result. Okay, it's nice that we found that out. Now, client server runtime subsystem is actually allowing us to see all those handles. And what is interesting is that we can review the list of the processes that we have and different handles. We've got two client server runtime subsystems. One is for the user processes, another one is for the system processes. And I'm changing the other one, because actually one of these two contains information about this process being hidden. This is kind of funny, yes, because process is on the list, because we do have a handle to that. But apparently, it's kind of like hiding. So that reminds me always one tiny little situation, and we found it, yes. And that particular situation, it's related to something like this, yes. I'm hiding. You don't see me, right? You guys don't see me. It's the same. Yes. So process is on the list, and obviously it is in memory, as you said, and obviously it's not hiding, but we just need to find out the way how to find it. Now this 1832, this is something that for us it's actually pretty easy, not easy to find it, because since I have a debugger, I can always go in the debugger, and then I can always do !process 0 and type the process ID. So it's 1832 with 0 that stands for the basic information. Bang, yes? And I will have here information about the process name. Now, interesting story is, what if I don't have a debugger? Can I just make a dump and analyze it? Sure you do. Definitely you do. Let me show you right now. A little bit upfront, but that's what the presentation is about. The result that takes about 20 minutes, so that's why I'm running it in front of you. This is the command that I was running. So this is volatility written in Python, and volatility written in Python, it's, I would say, one of the best, if really not the best, the tool that you can use to analyze memory. Python obviously can run on Windows, as we know, but I have a couple of tips for you before you even start thinking about running volatility. First of all, this subject is not user-friendly. believe it or not, but sometimes you're like, why things cannot be so simple and beautiful that when I download things, they just work? It's a little bit like with Java, yes? The same story. So you download Python and you're like, oh, I want to have a Python that is the most up to date, yes? No, forget it. Actually, small advice for you. Python 2.7 works best with volatility because there's a lot of different modules that you can use for memory analysis. So simply speaking, most of them, they just work with 2.7. It's a community tool, don't forget. It means that if I don't have time because I'm on vacation, I will not write a module for volatility. Nobody pays me for that. So that's why the tool, it's not 100% up to date. Well, yes, because sometimes Windows 10, if you want to analyze it, it's not always that easy because some modules are not working with Windows 10 memory dumps. So, volatility to be downloaded, yes, Python 2.7, here comes the thing, 32-bit, please, because still not many modules work. 64-bit, it's absolutely pointless. Can we analyze memory dumps from 64-bit operating systems with the volatility that is 32-bit? Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. And Python 32-bit, of course, of course. And these two, don't download volatility as an executable, okay? Because it's not up to date. Sometimes it's like someone writes a module, it's very easy to write a module. You just drop it in modules in Python, that's it. And for exe, it must be pre-compiled. It takes time. Small suggestion, Python is better, though it's a little bit horrible to set it up. Now, active Python, which makes it running without typing Python, and of course, we need to have it 32-bit. This is the starting point. It's not that difficult as you see, and when you have that, you are absolutely ready to do what I'm doing right now. So I just want to show you that I use the option that is called PS scan. And option PS scan, what it gives me, here it's actually the dump made a little bit earlier, so the process ID is different. It gives me the malware.exe. So answer is, if there is something hiding, well, A, check handles in the memory. Second, check, of course, memory dump and do the PS scan option. Now, what's the difference in between PS scan and PS list, which is a little bit lighter? Well, the difference is as task manager and, of course, browsing the handles from the client server runtime subsystem or browsing the memory in general. If I do PS list like this, it lists me the processes uber quickly, yes, or as for the memory analysis, uber quickly. And you will see that this mechanism actually reads information from the active process links list that I was telling you about before. And over here, yes, we don't see malware.exe because it's not on this list. Hopefully this is clear for the beginning. Whatever runs, it's in the memory. That's why we analyze memory, not use any of those crappy tools like Task Manager. Okay? So, this is all cool. But we might be wondering, okay, but why do we do that? So the thing is that when we were doing this project at the customer site that I was mentioning before, the first thing when they are like, oh, you have to come, okay, so we came, and they're like, okay, so we need to do a little bit of analysis because we've been attacked, blah, blah, blah. So they present the whole story, and our 3 of 3 domain controllers were brought down by this guy, so they got a little bit of problems. The factory stopped operations for 2.5 days, like business issue, and we are like, all right, perfect. So bring us the memory dumps that we are about to analyze. And these guys obviously are like, which memory dumps? And we're like, the memory dumps that you did as an incident handling procedure. You're guys a factory, you should have that. We don't have that. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, so what are we gonna do right now? So, long story short, we are thinking, maybe you have some of those domain controllers that were there, that were like broken or something, that we could have a look at. They're like, no, we don't, because we had to operate in business. So what they did, they have, because they were actually physical, they have reinstalled them, 3 of them, yes, in order to be back to the operations. So there was absolutely nothing to touch besides figuring out, maybe on this administrator's computer we're gonna find something interesting. And we finally did. So I will show you, of course, how the process looks like. But now, what's the purpose of these dumps? Well, forensically, these dumps are great because whatever runs, it's in a memory. So we have all this information needed. When our applications are crashing, memory analysis, absolutely functional because it allows us to analyze what is actually running within this app so that it's crashing. And when we compare that with the resources used by the operating system, we've got a complete view about what was literally to the bones happening. So memory dumps are super useful, super practical. We just need to, of course, learn what to do, and that's what we are doing right now. Now, there are also a couple of memory dumps that are quite easy, that are done after the blue screens. Yeah, so this is something that we call a mini dump, and mini dump is written in a Windows directory, of course, in mini dump folder. And these mini dumps, they contain the last snapshot of certain amount of memory, what was there, what was running, so that whenever blue screen happened, you can see what caused the blue screen function to be called for. And this is the function name is ke, like kernel, backcheck x. And that's the one, whenever you see that, it means that the blue screen happened. But this is easy, yes? This is quite easy. Let's think about something interesting. First of all, small intro, how to make a dump. So there are plenty of ways, yes, how we are able to make the memory dump. One of the ways, and again, let me bring this ugly tool, because everybody has it, that we've got here local security authority subsystem. Let me sort by the name. You right click and you do nothing but you create a dump file. So, for example, yes, and this DMP file, like you see, yes, it's the one that you can analyze in a different types of debuggers, for example. One of the tools that I use, it is actually the free debugger, a WinDBG, debugging tools for Windows, that you can download freely from Microsoft website. But there are also a little bit more professional solutions like IDA Pro that our developer Michael uses. You could not believe when we get him a license, he was so happy. I mean, like a kid. That was quite funny. Anyway, so this is well, one of the ways how we can attach. What are the other ways how to make a dump? Well, of course, the other dumps, this is also pretty easy to introduce. They can be done whenever you've got tools like Process Explorer, yes? So you can also right-click, yes, do the dump, and then you are able, so here, create a dump. You're able, of course, to create the full dump. Full dump means what this process fully manages in memory. Mini dump is only a portion of it. It's more like informational. You really don't want that. It's not very practical. But if you want to troubleshoot some worker process on a web server, that's how you do it. Now, what about system dump? Yes, can I, for example, do some things that are related with the operating system? Sure, there are two ways of doing this. You can, of course, use the tool dumpage, which I will show you in a second, but you can also play with procdum a little bit, yes? First, let's have a look in procdum. When you've got an application that is not good, you can always mark that this particular application should be dumped on some kind of a threshold. Now, let me show you a small example. Memory leak. Yes, memory leak is something pretty interesting. It happens in time. Memory is increased, and it's not decreasing. Maybe sometimes it's decreasing, but in time, let's say in 1 week, you can see on memory the memory of the process is doing like this. Physical memory, or as we call it, private bytes, or virtual memory, it doesn't matter. Memory definitely should not go all the time up, because it means that something is leaking. Now, can we verify that? Or if the application is crashing at some point, yes, every Monday or something like this, it will be great to analyze what's the reason. And definitely on something, make a dump so that you can name the function that is related with that situation. How do we do that? And now, guys, let me show you app. It's my app, but please don't laugh. Any developers in the room? Yes, put your hands up, please. Okay, no, a couple of. Okay, good. You're gonna forgive me. I know you, but okay. Application is ugly. Be careful. You can tell that we've got a sense of the user interface. Yes. Anyway, this application was written for a couple of purposes. One of the purposes was to leak. So if you really don't like someone, you can say, "Could you please click this button?" Someone were like, okay, nothing is happening. I'm like, no, okay. And then when you leave, a couple of minutes later, this person's laptop or computer will definitely freeze. So this is one of these funny moments in IT's life, right? Anyway, memory leak. Let's do that. Yeah, let's leak memory. Now, before I do that, I want to show you that it actually leaks. So let me jump to the information about the process. So this is the Process Explorer. I'm bringing this back here. Here we go. These are the properties. And what this application leaks, it's a virtual memory. So in a virtual memory, you can see that this tiny little app already took almost 200 megabytes. Boo! So this is a lot, yes? And it's going to leak. So this parameter, watch that, because this is leaking. But before we run that, I don't want that to be uncontrolled. I want to know what's happening. So I'm bringing the proc dump that I was mentioning to the field. And in proc dump, I'm defining that I would like to dump the process -p. I define the counter, process, leaky app, process ID, and virtual bytes, and then on 400 megabytes. Now you might be wondering why I do have this underscore 7828, because this is not how we define performance counters. I have it because I have put a small key in the registry to display me the process IDs next to process names in the performance monitor. I'm happy to tell you how to do that. It's just a one tweak in registry. I think everybody should do that anyhow. But this is the way to recognize the process is easier. This one starts. Yes, so let's start that. And then it says that it will, of course, it's waiting. Right now it's waiting. Yes, and monitoring without terminating the process. So whenever something happens, then it will do the dump. Now we do this, and then we do the memory leak. Yes, so watch this. This is crazy. Yes, this is crazy. So this application truly leaks. Of course, this example is more educational so that you can see how it looks like. Normally, if applications were leaking like that, world would be probably over in one day. So this is the situation, and now we are almost getting there to 400. Now have a look. Counter, 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 and then we are making the dump. So any application like this, crashing on a certain moment, yes, you just need to define that moment. What's this? If you want to know more, here we go. Now, allow me, I'm going to close this thing because I want to continue. Okay, so let me take this out. Dump is done. And then later on, this DMP file that you see, yes, we can, of course, connect to it with a debugger and analyze what was eventually a problem. Yes? So this is a small instruction. Now, let's move forward. How to make a system dump. Because making a system dump, this is interesting. And in order to do that, there is actually a very nice tool. There's WinDBG with debugger.dump. You can do that. memdd, WinDD, so anything like that. But I have actually a good tool. And that particular tool, it's called Dumpit. And Dumpit tool, you have to run it as an administrator. It's just a simple executable. It is a tool that is written by Maciusius, and it's a very nice guy. And he wrote that tool to do the full memory dumps of operating system. I will not click yes, because it will not even be a sexy demo, because what's going to happen is that 16 gigs is going to be written to my drive. Wow, yes? But you see how easy is this. I just click, I run the tool, and then do you want to make a full memory dump? Yes, no, and that's how you do it. I mean, could it be easier? This is my favorite, because I don't have to even think when I'm doing this, which is very nice sometimes. Anyway, and this particular dump you can take for analysis. Lovely. Is this tool free? Because that is always a question. Well, this time this tool can be free if you run it within the 32-bit operating systems, but I think the price is something like $190 if you want to run it with the 64-bit operating systems. Don't get me wrong, I'm not advertising it, I'm just telling you what's good and relatively affordable, yes? And this is the one. So, yeah, it's actually pretty good. But if you want free, you can always use the debugger. Lovely. So, eventually, we see that whenever things are running in the memory, they're there, yes? Things cannot hide as long as we know how to find them, yes? So, whatever runs, it's in the memory. Okay, so let's move further to the technically live memory analysis and dump analysis. We're going to be playing with analysis of the different dumps. And what do I want to show you today? Well, simply speaking, I want to show you a small demonstration how we are able to find out different processes in the memory which technically we don't know 100% what we are searching for. What is the case? The case is that when we were doing this analysis at the customer side, it apparently appeared that we have to extract from the memory dump log files, EVT files, because EVT files can be cleaned, but we wanted to know if we can find them in the memory or not. The problem is that the current version of volatility does not allow us to analyze EVTX files. And EVTX files are quite harsh, actually very, very difficult in comparison to EVT, which were with Windows XP, which you could edit as much as you wanted. EVTX are horribly difficult with multiple chunks being signed and groups are being signed, and if you change tiny little thing, then of course there is an issue because it means that well, someone modified the file, so effectively you cannot read it fully. So what is the case? And let me bring the console here with our volatility again. And what I will do, I'm gonna technically go to our dumps and I will show you how to extract these EVTX files, because we have actually a written tool for that. And I would advise to download it because this is, as far as I know, the only tool that can put the EVTX chunks into pieces, into one piece. So let me bring it up. So what I will do from that tiny little dump, I will, well, at the very beginning, list the DLLs. Why DLLs? Because I want to export from memory EVTX files. So this is strange because EVTX is not a DLL. Here comes the thing. Let me show you something. When we have a look at the different types of services, yes, these services, question is, who manages EVTX files? What do you think? What do you think? What could it be? I'm going to sort it. Of course, it's a service, yes, but question is, what is this, yes? Is there any, like, a service that is related with that? And answer is, sure, there is, yes. And that service, it's called Windows Event Log. Now, when we have a look at the process that is related with it, with the process ID 432, yes, so let's do that, and technically we can go to details, we can see that this is SVC host. Now, knowledge of task manager is definitely over, because we have to switch in here, yes, and find the process with the process identifier, as we have mentioned, and this is the one, this 432 that we have. And in the SVC host 432, yes, we can go to the properties, and we can, of course, display ourselves different types of information about that process. For example, well, strings and so on, services that are there. If we go to services, you can see that this is actually Windows Event Log, so it's over here. But what I want to show you is pretty much the same story as we've been playing before. View, lower pane view, and then handles. This tiny little process in the bottom has handles, and these handles are handles to different types of threads and different types of files. Let me get there. So this is our 432, bang, 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 bang. Let's go to the bottom, 432, that's the one, yes? And these handles here, yes, they are directly to EVTX files. So I want to know, list me the DLLs, because SVC host, I have no idea which SVC hosts what. But if we have a look at the detail of this tiny little SVC host, yes, as I showed you before, in the services, not only we see that there is a Windows Event Log, but we also see something that we are interested in, which is this. Define me a SVC host that has this service running by loaded a DLL. Okay, clear? We are all set? Good. So let's move forward. So what we will do, let me take this out. We will analyze the DLLs, so take the DLLs out, and this is a module for that, and that particular module is of course defining the DLL list, and this is literally how it's called, and we're gonna do here DLL list, and what I will do, I will list it, actually stream it to the file, DLL list .txt, Yes. So this is happening, and this is happening for a short moment, actually not for too long. And on the top of that, I'm going to have a text file, which I'm going to open. And that particular text file will represent me the DLL list based on what I'm going to find as VCOs, based on what I'm going to export the handles that contain files. So this is done. DLL list, enter, and text file opened. Yes, and with this text file, I will search for the name of the event log service, yes? And that particular event log service, if we search for EVT, for example, yes, we can find a couple of things. This is not this is not that. There's actually plenty. Oh, am I, let me go up one more time. Maybe I've missed something, yes? Uppy. Oh, this one. WEVT SVC. Lovely. So we found it. We got it, yes? And this one is in 848. This is the SVC host with this process ID. Now, what we will do, we're going to export, yes, file handles from the list of the handles of the chosen process. So what we want to do right now, we want to export all the different files from the process ID. In our case, it was 848, yes? And what we will do, we're going to specify the directory minus capital D. It's actually case sensitive. And I have a folder that is called file handles. File handles, and this is it. Yeah, so we've got that, of course, from that process. Now, that takes a little while. But what will happen here is that I will be exporting different types of handles, different types of files, to the Python directory that is defined in the console. What is this? What is this? No, this is actually interesting. Let me check, because we've got. Yeah. Okay, I did not specify the module, and the module name in this case it will be file handles. No, dump files. Dump files. We got it. Bunk. Yes, this will be a little bit better. And these list of files in the Python list, in the Python place, we will analyze. But what is interesting is that in Python, these chunks, they will be absolutely, this is the list, they will be absolutely not processable, because the format is raw. It's a raw format from what was in the memory. So even though I change an extension from, let's say, even this file, so I got like a system logs or something, yes, so we can rename it, yes, and what I can do, I can try to, one more time, I can try to open it in the event log. It's just the content is changing, that's why. Yeah, let's try to do this. Okay, well, let's name it test, for example, EVTX, because it's like blinking. EVTX, good, yes, do you want to change it? 100%. Icon changed, and I want to open it right now, and that particular log file will not open in the event log, cause, and this is the case, yes, sorry, but it's not consistent. So you see, now, is there a way to make those things consistent? Absolutely yes. What I will do, actually, I will, select all those files, and let's say I want to process only a couple of log files, yes? So I can have like a network profile operation, this one and this one. Yeah, so I just, so that we don't process that much, so I'm gonna delete all of the other ones. Yep, here we go. And our job, so I'm gonna copy them, would be to fix them. And this is the tool that I was talking about, okay? So we're gonna fix the logs from the memory so that they are readable for us. And in order to do that, let me go to the tools folder that I have. So in my case, it's gonna be, let me bring it up in the console as well. So this is the tools, and we've got tools TE and demos, and we've got the mem, and this is the EVTX recovery. And there I got here a folder that is called in, and in I have nothing, and in out I have also nothing. Yes. So let me move to in, and in I'm gonna out. I'm gonna copy the files that we were talking about, so that we are able to analyze them and fix them effectively. So I'm copying the files quickly right now. EVTX recovery in. Yes, here we go. And we are in this directory. Now we've got these files to be processed. Yes. And what we will do, we will actually, right now, get into the tool that is written by our developer, EVTX Recovery. And the logic is actually very developish, because the logic is in, out, out. I'm sorry. Yeah. Michael was never user-friendly. Anyway, let's bring it. And of course, if there is something that is to be recovered, yes, for example, we've got this test EVTX successfully recovered 10 records. And now let's find out if this is actually the case, yes? So I'm going to go to this place. So let me go to out. And well, no, dear, and we've got our test. So EVTX, it was a extension changed. And I'm opening, of course, that particular lock right now. And let me show you if of course this is opened. Here we go. And our test, here we go. And our test EVTX that we have tried to recover, this was the one that didn't open, yes. And this is the one that actually opened. We got them back. Make sense? Okay. So this is quite interesting, of course. But question is there anything else that we can do by extracting from the memory? Absolutely yes. Volatility is the tool that we use in order to, of course, analyze different types of memory dumps. Now, is there anything in volatility that we can bring in that is well, interesting? And absolutely, answer is yes. Especially in volatility, you've got different amounts of modules that can be really nice and really crazy if it's about going details into the memory dumps. What I want to show you is the analysis, simple analysis and the usage of volatility, how you can practically use your own volatility when you're about to have fun with the memory dumps. Yeah? So we're going to start from the nice part. Now, we've got our Python here. And what I would do, let me type the command. So we've got a volatility py. So this is the Python file, defines the file. We're going to go and specify the dump that I have. And that dump is the hacked PC. Because this PC, let's assume that it was hacked. Or we don't know, something happened. So we are interesting. We managed to get the evidence. Yeah, we managed to get the dump. This is like the most important thing, to get the memory dump. And when we got the memory dump, now we can take it out and analyze it somewhere else. And within this dump, we can find out really juicy information about what was happening in this certain machine. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, we need to specify the profile. And that profile needs to define the operating system. In my case, it was Windows 7 SP1, and that was actually 64-bit. So this is the code. And you can pretty much choose what you want. CMD scan, it is actually pretty cool, because CMD scan, it takes a while, but what it does, it exports from the memory information about what kind of commands were used in the CMD in the console. So this is the first one. You will see if there was something happening. You can see step by step the commands that were there. As I mentioned, I mean, you have to be very patient. By the way, my dump, it's like 1 gig. And you see how long does it take. So if you got a 16 gigs, you have to be like super patient. Yes, go out for coffee and whatever, relax yourself, and then you're going to get the result. Now you see that someone was actually launching psexec. Someone was going to the directory 64-bit. Someone was launching Mimikatz. Or we're like, oh crap. So this is not good. I'm going to interrupt it because I want to show you more. Mimikatz? Oi. That means that, does it mean that someone get my credentials? Well, I want to know. So what I'm going to run, and this is a Spanish, consoles. Yeah? And you're going to get the output of what some person saw. Yeah, so you can see exactly the result of what was engaged within the attack. If someone did dir, you're going to see the output. If someone ran Mimikatz and saw the memory dumps, credentials, hashes, and so on, you got an output, yes? So this is actually pretty nice. And again, it takes a while because this is the beauty about the memory. What else? Well, there are also different types of modules. So let's have a look at the volatilities help. Even though it doesn't sound maybe very encouraging, it's actually really nicely written. And where there's a list of modules that you can go to, and there is a usage described and everything described, how you can, of course, use those. You can use volatility, for example, for in dumping the routing table, dumping the connections, yes, that were the IP address configurations, things like that, yes. You can, of course, get information about the services running, about DLLs loaded, yes. So there's a plenty of things that are about to run in operating system. As you see, someone get my password. This is what the hacker saw. And I got that from the operating system memory, so I'm like, I'm in trouble, yes? So this is one of those ways. Lovely. Also, of course, whenever we are thinking about what is interesting that runs in the operating system, you are also able to list, for example, list the PowerShell commands. So anything that was there, someone made a open PowerShell, then you are also able to get that information. How do we do that? Well, let me show you actually, because we're gonna do the live demonstration about how to do the dump of the PowerShell and what was happening. I've got the PowerShell running, yes, and if I do get help, let's say, doesn't matter, and I do, for example, get process, also doesn't matter, yes, but this is something that is right now in the memory. What I will do, I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna find that PowerShell, which is here, and I'm gonna make a memory dump. So this is the live analysis. And after that, so that takes a moment, but let me copy this path, we're gonna analyze such. So let me get to the place where I have my tool. And again, the PowerShell analysis did not exist. So technically what we did, we wrote our own tool to do that. I'm super happy to share it, and I'm sharing it on the website. And that PowerShell dump, I'm gonna just simply speaking copy and place it in the place where we've got the tool. And let me get to the path, because there's a lot of tools engaged. And path is like this. Yep, and if I do dir, one more time, dir, here we go. This is the PowerShell dump that I made, yes? This is the one that I have uploaded right now, as you see, yeah? So it's the 5th of February. Now, moving further, yes? So this tool, so our PS WinRM history, that's the one that we use to analyze the history of the dump within the PowerShell. And in order to do that, this is actually pretty easy, you specify file, and then PowerShell.tmp, enter, and if everything went great, then we will be able to see, and we are, the list of the commands, when they were running, how long they were running, yes, what was the start time, and so on. Yeah, so this is also the nice measurement. If you're wondering, how long this command was running, do the dump of the PowerShell. Our tool will tell you. So this is everything and more than we can find in memory. Now, something useful, yes? Are we able to browse the operating system of the operating system's memory remotely? And this is our true live memory analysis. So whenever we are in the need for playing a little bit with different types of certificates, for example, I would like to show you something practical, and this is our next demonstration. You can, for example, export sometimes private key from the certificate, sometimes you cannot. What affects that, and let me show you, is actually how the certificate was generated. Because in the template, you've got a checkbox that you allow private key to be exported, private key is exportable, or it's not. You know, let me tell you one thing, this is a lie. Because if someone tells me that I cannot do something, and this is the operating system that I have paid for, I'm kind of like, you must be kidding, yes? It's in the memory, of course we can do that, yes? So let's find it out. I got here, virtual machine. And that virtual machine, nothing really special. What we've got over here, cert mgr.msc, are certificates, yes? So let me go to personal, certificates, and we've got different certificates. Personal means current users, but someone gave this user a certificate that's called www.consoles.com, whatever. We can check, because what we want to do, hey, I want to have this certificate also with the private key over there. Let me give you the practical case, routers, yes? So you've got the, for example, or you install somewhere certificate, and that you lost the original copy of it, the PFX file, and question is how you are about to export the private key when it's made not exportable. Yes? Okay, let's find out. Export, and I want to do this, normal stuff. Yes, so I go next, and then, oops, yes, I don't see the option that no, do not export a private key. But what if I want to say yes? Then forget it, because it's grayed out. No, 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 no. Yes? So what we're going to do, we're going to actually do the memory dump, and we're going to extract it from the memory, as simple as this. You all know that. But in order to make it a little bit juicier, we're going to do this remotely. Because I want to tell you one thing. In Windows Server 2012, WinRM, so the remote management, is turned on by default. And you can do such things in your infrastructure already by, of course, leveraging the remote management. We could be even talking more about it because it's a pretty nice subject. But in case of memory dumping, it's even nicer. So let me open the machine where we will be doing that from. So I will here logged on. Account, of course, you must be privileged to do that. No, one more time. And that particular account needs to be member of the local administrators group of that server, because that's what we need actually in order to make the memory dump. So now let me do this so that we all see and it's all super comfortable. So what's the case? So I got here a function that is called invoke mimikatz, and this is nothing but the mimikatz in PowerShell. If you wonder like how long is this, it is actually quite long because it's almost 3,000 lines, and this addition is actually our edition, but its original script is written by Joe Białek, very nice guy, in cooperation with Benjamin. But what we did, we have edited it so that you can actually run it remotely. And what is beautiful, and this was in our interest, we don't want to be recognized as an antivirus by an antivirus. So when we're going to invoke mimikatz, you're going to actually invoke it in the context of the remote management process. So it's never anything, it's nothing ever written on the disk. If you run procmon on the other side, you will never see anything being written. It's just generated in memory directly, and we suck it from there. So that's what I say, it's nice, yes? Okay, that's what we understand by entertainment, yes? Not like movies or something. Anyway, let's dig in. First of all, what I will do, I will register that function, bank. Now, to show you that I'm not cheating or something, we're going to export certificates to this folder. You don't see any certificates there. They're going to appear over there in a moment. What I will do, I'm going to run the tool, the script itself, which is obviously invoke mimikatz, and as you see, this is this function that is available right now as a cmdlat, and we're going to specify the computer name and the computer name of the remote computer that I was showing you. Let me show you so that everything gets 100% clear. Yes, we got it. This is the host name, WS12R2DC. Yes, so WS12, here we go, WS12R2-DC secured.tech. And we're going to say that we want to dump certs. And as long as we've got that, what we can do, enter, yes, what we will be doing, we will be exporting or extracting certificates from that operating system's memory in order to get the private key. And as you see, maybe PowerShell console, it's not very clear. This is our tools folder originally. We've got here, local machine I wasn't showing you, I was actually showing you the current user, contoso.com, PFX. And PFX means nothing but importable file that contains the private key. Now, can we analyze that? Well, yes, I would say the easiest way to analyze it is that we are importing it. Yes, so that's what I do. Bank. Now, what's the password? Yes, actually, in this case, we give by default in the script password mimikatz. Yes, and then you go next and bank. As you see, we are able to import the private key. Yes, and as a matter of fact, import was successful. We can always go there. Yes, cert mgr.msc, open it in the current context of the current user, because that's what we did. And this is our contoso.com certificate, which when we have a look, you have a private key that corresponds to the certificate. Exactly we do, because it was in the memory. Interesting? Yeah. Okay, guys. So hopefully this is useful, yes? Because sometimes we've got customers that say like, oh, how can I get this key back? Because I lost the PFX and I want this private key to be like on all of the devices, but it doesn't allow me to be exported, yes? So you see the option, yes? We are able to do this way. Or if you don't want to have a password Mimikatz, you can use OpenSSL to extract, of course, the public key and the private key. And if you ever wondered how we are able to combine private key and public key in a certificate and so on, if you want to generate it, on our website, in tools folder, there is actually, because we wrote, the certificate reconstructor. So when you've got these things, yes, you can always bring a certificate to the field and you can put any password that you want. So, I mean, seriously, it's just the bits and bytes at the end, yes? Okay, so this is the case. As you see, and hopefully it was interesting, we are able to analyze memory of the operating system as long as we've got a dump. I have to, of course, mention one thing, that in order to do the dump, you need to be a member of the local administrators group. As you see at the very beginning, when I was struggling with displaying handles, this was actually a pretty good example of how things are not possible, because I've removed from my local administrators group the debug privilege, and this is the privilege in operating system that is actually used to connect to different kinds of processes, including making dumps of them. So debug privilege, if you got more chance, if you want to do something interesting on Saturday, because weekend is coming, so maybe small inspiration, read about the debug privilege, because this is something that is unnecessarily given to users by default, or administrators effectively, because they don't need it. It's just to debug programs when you're connecting to them directly with the debugger. Who does this in an everyday's life, like every day? Nobody does this, yes? But while this is actually very dangerous, because making a dump like that allows us to display us a little bit more information. And finalizing the whole story, remember I made a dump with the local security authority subsystem. I made it on my operating system, so forgive me, but I'm not sharing it with you, yes? But what I want to show you is that I've got a dump made, this one, demo Elsas, and what I will do at the very, very end, I'm going to open such dump, and what I will do, I will quickly analyze this by putting .load mimi-lib, let me enlarge it. I'm loading the Mimikatz library right now. So see how simple is this? An exclamation mark Mimikatz. And this is something that allows us super easily, even from the dump, yes, extract information from the memory. So never share your memory with everybody, like with anyone. On the forum, if someone asks you, could you please provide the memory dump because I want to troubleshoot what's wrong with your application, never do this. Our developer is actually on that forum waiting for those dumps. So maybe it will be you sending to our Michael the dump. And I'm really serious, this is his hobby. This is weird, but our dev actually also has 3 kids and nobody knows in our team how that happened because he is not very socializing, but I don't know, maybe someone dropped them at the door and anyhow. So yes, you know the guy. Anyway, don't share memory dumps with anyone else. Please note down all the tools. Remember about running 32-bit Python in order to start your adventure so that it's like super smooth, because otherwise you're gonna be, why this is not working? Yes, 32-bit Python does the job very well. Please remember, as this is actually an option for different types of forensics. So if something happens to you, have the incident handling plan, what to do step by step. Memory, it's an unbelievably precious resource if it's about finding what happened. So remember, don't shut down the system, because some people say that, or you can write it in articles like, okay, shut it down, wait for police, and so on. Okay, maybe wait for police, but don't shut it down, because what we care is truly a memory over there. And hopefully you learn something about troubleshooting and memory, and if you will have more questions, I'm super happy to answer them. I'm downstairs, and now is the time for another speaker, which I'm pretty sure is going to be interesting because I know him. Thank you so much, guys, and have a great weekend. Thank you.